Hi, my name's Pat Moore. My adventure into the world of skydiving began in 1962. My dad came to me and said, "What do you want to do for your 16th birthday?" Well, I wanted to get my driver's license, but he asked, "Would you like to jump out of an airplane?" Well, I didn't hesitate. I said, "Absolutely." We were living in Western Massachusetts at the time, and he took me on up to Orange, Massachusetts, the site of the first commercial skydiving operation and training center in the United States. When we got there, we saw canopy come down with a fella in a yellow jumpsuit, good-looking guy. Turned out to be Lou Sanborn, D1. The school was run by Lou and by Jacques Estelle, D2. Lou became my instructor and my jump master for my first jump. It was an experience I'll never forget. I continued jumping at the University of Florida. There I met a fellow student by the name of Dave Henson. Dave was a aerospace engineering major. He actually became a real rocket scientist. And Dave and I went on down to a drop zone at nearby Williston, Florida. It was an old World War II training base, runway down there. We progressed to free fall, and Dave bought the operation from the existing owners, and we went down one day, just the two of us, and decided we'd make a jump. We got in touch with a pilot, a fellow by the name of Homer Satterfield, and he agreed to take us up. Dave and I packed our chutes as well as we remembered how from watching the more experienced jumpers, and we went up our first jump, guessing at a spot. Dave opened and had his risers backwards. I think I wound up in a tree, first of many times in trees, but somehow we survived our adventures there and continued to jump. Dave formed a club at the University of Florida, a University City Sport Parachute Club, and moved the operation to Palatka, Florida, to K. Larkin Field. That's where I got my first PC jump, my first relative work, a baton pass with a fellow named Dave Weeks, and had a lot of fun. Had my first malfunction there and my second malfunction very early on in my career. May West, I used hand-deployed World War II twill reserves, 24-foot. One of them actually caught an oscillation right and made a stand-up landing on a runway. In the summer of '66, I was about to enter the Air Force, but I spent that summer at Manassas, Virginia, home of the Targeteers Parachute Club and the celebrated Pelican Skydivers. I met Bill Otley at that point, became a lifelong friend, and learned a lot about the sport of skydiving from those guys. During that summer, my dad, my brother, and my sister all got involved in the sport of skydiving and stayed in it for a while. I bought my first PC there, then I enlisted in the Air Force. Got stationed at MacDill Air Base in Tampa, terrific location for a young skydiver because it was very close to Zephyr Hills, home of the Tampa Skydivers. This was long before the commercial operation was in existence down there. And there I met Bob Branch, who trained me in style and accuracy, and I got to be fairly proficient in a lot of the Florida Parachute Council events down there. I had a kind of an unofficial national record at one point where I had 9 consecutive dead centers with a round canopy. In style, I tended to turn in the high 7s, actually dipped into the 6s on a couple of occasions. My background was gymnastics, and that helped a lot. We did get into relative work. My wife and I teamed up with Ski and Donna Shimoleski, who are still very active in the sport, and we called our RW team More Ski, and then changed it to Funk's Hybrid after a seed corn manufacturer in Minnesota, where Ski was from. After I had already logged over 400 sport jumps, the Air Force sent me to paratrooper training at Fort Benning in Georgia. I wound up winning the Iron Mike Award, and that was a real thrill. I then became a rigger and started producing my own gear. This is an example of one of the style rigs I built. And in this next picture, this is the world's first all-couple star. That's 4 sets of husbands and wives, and 7 of the 8 are wearing rigs that I built. After college, I got a job as a morning weatherman at the local NBC affiliate in Tampa. One of the local papers had some fun running this particular article after a meet down in Indiantown, Florida. Every winter, I went to Paul Poppenhager's event down at Indiantown, Florida, and met a lot of the great jumpers from around the country. I was invited to participate in the on the accuracy team with Bob Holler, Bill Otley, Tommy Bryant one year, and we took first. And that was certainly a high point in my skydiving career. I competed at the Nationals on 4 occasions, 1969 in Marana, Arizona, 1970 at Plattsburgh, New York, and then in the early 70s a couple times out at Tulsa, Oklahoma. In '68, when I was not a competitor but a spectator, I got a chance to appear a brief clip in Wide World of Sports with Keith Jackson and Bill Otley. I did appear in a movie back then, Mike Swain's The Endless Fall, had a couple of clips in that. I've been out of the sport for a long time, but in 2014, it occurred to me there was a need to document all the drop zones that have passed out of existence in the United States, and I set out to create a website. Ultimately, it became dzgone.com, and I was able to identify, with a lot of help, over 600 drop zones in all 50 states that are no longer in existence. Jumpers sent me pictures and stories, and it makes for some great reading, and I encourage you to visit dzgone.com and check it out for yourself. I'm now in my 70s and retired, long since out of skydiving, but other activities are keeping me very busy these days. When I finally had hung it up, I logged a little over 2,000 jumps. My Diamond Wings presentation was done by Richard Bach, the author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Skydiving is a huge influence on my life, a great memory, and I certainly never have regretted it.